Hello. Welcome back to another episode of the 1111 Matrix Code Revealed. As always, I'm your host, Garrett King. Today's episode, folks, is going to be pretty interesting. A lot to talk about, and I'm going to try to make it as quick as possible to get through all of this information. This kind of is going to tie in off of the last video, 14.1. Instead of doing a 14.2, I'm just going to go ahead and make this video 15 because I think this information is the final bit of the Flower of Life demonstration that I want to show you. But it's going to touch into some other stuff as well. So yeah, a lot to go over. Bear with me. It's going to be quite a bit. So let's just go ahead and get started straight away here. So if you remember from video 14, I talked about the Flower of Life and how it was originally created based off of the number 37. And then after looking at it, I realized it didn't match up exactly to what was being shown in that crop circle. And then realized that using the code of 1111, 2222, 3333, 4444, and so on, it got us an exact match. But there's another method, and I'm calling this the pure form method, because I think this is the actual way to go. I think what was coming to me before in video 14 and 14.1 was merely stepping stones, getting me to this point. So yeah, you can kind of see how this code is working. It's all pieces that fit together, but now I believe that I've gotten to the final portion of at least this bit of information. Yeah. All right, let's just jump in here. So I'm going to, like I did last time, I'm going to literally build this on screen so you can see exactly everything I'm doing. So we're going to add a circle to the screen here. Whoops. And I'm going to enlarge it just a little bit. And I'm going to make sure it's right in the center of the screen. Like so. You're probably wondering what this is over here, but we'll get to this in just a moment. And I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the fill, so there's no fill on it, but I'm going to add a border. And again, I'm just walking you through this process so you can see exactly everything that I am doing. All right, so we have the circle. Now I'm going to create a line. And I promise, folks, this will make sense here in just a moment. I'm going to make sure that that's center screen so you can see the crosshairs have popped up. And we're going to thicken it up to about the same width as the circle. Now I'm going to duplicate that and that line. And let's just rotate it 90 degrees. Okay, so this is going to be our starting point. Now, the reason I call this the pure form method is I'm not having to combine two circles and then intersect them to just get the petal, okay? This will actually form the entire flower based off of the circle or circles only, okay? And you'll see what I'm talking about here in just a moment. So I'm going to group these, and the reason I've added those lines is because they're going to act as guides. All right, so now that I have it grouped. I'm going to make it just a little bit smaller due to screen real estate. I think we could probably go a little bigger. And I'm going to place it right back in the center of the screen. Okay. Now we're going to duplicate it, excuse me, set it on top of itself. And I'm simply going to slide it up using the lines I've added. I'm going to slide this up so that middle line is touching. Oh, come on and move. There we go. Oh, it's moving the line. Okay, I thought that was grouped together. Sorry, folks. Let's go back. Make sure this is... Okay, it's grouped. Okay. Don't know why it was separating itself, but it did. Okay, duplicate it. Sorry, one more time. Let's do this again. Okay, I'm going to move it up to where the top line is at the top of the circle and the bottom, and it could probably come down. It snaps, wants to snap to a certain point. Okay, so just like this. So the top of this circle is meeting that middle line. The bottom of the circle is meeting the middle line of the first circle that was created. Okay. And now we're going to duplicate that one, set it on top of itself, and just like before, but this time we're going to slide it down, just like so. And what you're going to realize is that this is actually based on the number 3, 6, and 9, which you'll see here in just a moment. And could possibly explain what Nikola Tesla was talking about when he said if you only understood the magnificence of these numbers, 3, 6, and 9, you would have a key to the universe. Okay, so I've duplicated the circle again, and this one we're going to move up. And we're going to use those lines again as guides. And we're simply going to, let's see here. Okay, we're going to line these up so it's touching right in the center, like so. So that this line right here, this point touches, this is in the center, and this point touches. It's almost similar to what I was doing with the 37-degree angle, combining the two circles and intersecting them. All right, I'm going to duplicate that one. And this one is going to move down. And again, to where the top of the circle is touching this line. Now, as you can see, we already have 2 petals right here that have formed. And then I'm simply going to select those 2. And we're going to move them over to the other side and bring them over to where those lines touch right where the circles intersect. And as you can see, we have the flower of life right in the center, merely made up from the circle itself. Okay. And keep in mind, a circle is 360 degrees. So we have the 3 and the 6, but also 3 and 6 is 9. So let's come back up here. We're going to ungroup this, and we're going to get rid of the lines that we added to each one of these circles because they're distracting. And I just want to walk you through this entire process so that you can see that I'm not manipulating anything, that I'm building it exactly on screen, right in front of your eyes. You can see exactly how everything comes together. Okay, now this middle circle, I'm going to duplicate it. I'm going to move it off to the side here. I'm going to ungroup it, select everything. And I do want to make this one red. And I'm also going to get rid of this line right there. So we just have this. I'm going to group it back together, then come back to this one here, ungroup, and get rid of the lines on it. Okay. So as you can see right here in the center, we have the flower of life, the flower of creation, again, whatever you want to call it. Now, simply taking this one, I want to put it back in here as a guide. I just want to show you how this is based off the numbers 3, 6, and 9. All right. So the first number in the sequence is 3, and then it goes 6 and 9. So we're going to rotate this 30 degrees. And as you can see, it clearly crosses the petals right at 30 degrees. And reduced down, the number 30 is 3. Now, the next number in the sequence is 6. Well, we would normally think like we should go to 60 degrees. Well, 60 degrees is going to put us in the middle, right about here. And that's not going to work. So we have to think outside of the box. So we're going to do 150 because if you remember in the triangle that I created, I'll pull it up here for you guys, talking about the power of 9. So we have 3, and then it goes over to 6, and then up to 9. So that's what we're going to do here. Okay, so 150 degrees, when reduced, 1 plus 5 is 6. See how it rotates it to this petal, and it's exactly in the middle. So there's our 6. And then 90 degrees, we'll put it straight up through the middle here. So there, folks, is the 3, 6, and 9 from the pure form method, or that's what I'm calling this. And the reason, again, that I'm calling it pure form is that all of this is simply made from a simple circle, overlapping circles. Now, the interesting part of this is this is called the flower of life, the flower of creation. And for those of you who are well knowledged in your Bible, you know that on the 6th day is when God created man. And this is the 6th circle. So yes, we have the one in the middle, but we're focusing on the outer ones. So we have, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, which completes the flower of life. Because simply moving it out, the flower is not complete. How cool is that? Okay. So now let's select all of this and group it together. Set it on top of itself. And if you recall the crop circle, was actually showing, because right now we have 6 petals, 3 at the top, 3 at the bottom. But this one is showing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7 once we get back over to the middle here. Then it's 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Well, how can we get that from this? Pretty easy. So we've duplicated it, set it on top of itself, and all we need to do is merely rotate it 30 degrees. Now, not only will this create a really cool looking symbol, but it'll put this exact flower that you're seeing here in the crop circle. See it? It just happened because I clicked my mouse over to the image. So right here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Just like we see here in this crop circle. But man, what a cool looking design, right? So again, you can see why I'm calling this one the pure form, because it's literally based off 3, 6, and 9 and simply made by circles. The way it was happening before with 11, 11, we were just getting the petals to the flower. And you'll see why in a second, why doing it this way is actually more accurate, and it'll lead to more symbology coming up. Okay. So let's just delete that top one, go back to the original that we see here. And let's shrink it down a little bit. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate this multiple times. And we're simply going to move them over. Let's zoom in here so we can make sure we're doing this accurately. Okay. Just like so. See how they connect? Just like a puzzle. So I'm going to group all of those together. That way I can move multiples all at once. And we're simply going to move it down. Right, like so. And we're going to do it again. And one more time. Okay. Now, many of us have seen this pattern before. But there's another hidden symbol within this. So now that I have all of those built, let's see. Let's go ahead and add one more row. Just like so. All right. Now we'll group all of that together. And you're going to see how how cool and how intricately, again, how intricately hidden and encoded all of this information is. Now, keep in mind, all of this was based on the numbers 3, 6, and 9. Now I'm going to create a new shape. It's going to be just another circle here. And I'm going to make it red so it stands out. And I'm going to make it pretty small. Not super small, but small. And I'm simply going to put it in the center of this flower here. I'm going to duplicate it and move it down. And keep going. I'm going to do it 5 times. just like so. And then I'm going to select 3 of these and move them over to the side. Duplicate those and move them over to this side. Now, some of you might already be able to tell what I'm about to create here. Some of you may not, and that's fine. Now we're going to connect the dots, the line, or the circles, the red circles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this line right here, and I'm going to stretch it all the way down to this one here. Let's zoom in a little closer here. Okay. I'm going to duplicate it, move it over, move the line up, move this over, drop it in right there. Okay. And then I'm going to duplicate that one. And I'm going to cross it over here, like so. Duplicate it and move it up. So it crosses there. And now I'm going to simply flip these next ones. So it crosses there. And there. Now, like I said, many of you can probably see what I'm creating here. And for those of you that aren't aware, I'll tell you once it's finished here. Okay, going to cross that over. Move it down. Move this up. And just bear with me, folks. I know it's just tedious sitting here watching me build this crap. I shouldn't call it crap. It's not crap, but you know what I mean. All right, so now I'm going to copy that. Move it. Actually, I think this one down here connects like so. Okay. So here we go. And I'm pretty sure, I'm pretty sure those connect as well. Like this. Yes, they do connect. All right. So there we have it, folks. This is known as the tree of life or the tree of knowledge. Some people believe that the trees are one and the same. And there we have it. Probably need to move that line a little bit. There we go. And just to demonstrate this, here it is. Now I haven't connected the line over here. So let me just copy this. Slide that over and copy it right here. And go ahead and group it together. There we go. And let's just make it larger. So there you go, folks. It's exactly the same. Okay, so we have a circle here, 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 just like we do here. It's exactly the same. And notice, now I've seen this symbol many times without this middle portion right here, this middle circle. But that one is known as knowledge. Knowledge. So the tree of life, the tree of knowledge. The very same tree that God told Adam and Eve not to eat from. Okay? And we'll get into that here in just a second, too. And let's just go ahead. Nope, I do not want to rotate you. I want to enlarge you a little bit. Yeah. All right, so there we have it. Pretty freaking cool. Now, when this symbol is inverted, so right now it's the tree of life, the tree of knowledge, but when it's upside down, it's known as the tree of death. And when I look at this in this manner, I see a 3D shape taking place. So let's go ahead and copy. Actually, let's just go back and we'll use the one that's on this page. So group it. Flip it upside down. And enlarge it. And now you can probably tell why I have this on the screen. Isn't it crazy how this seems to symbolize an obelisk? Just like in Egypt, just like we have at the Washington Monument. And yet it's known as the tree of death. And has it ever occurred to you why we see in many cemeteries the headstones are oftentimes, not all of them, but there's a few. I know that there are here in Tulsa. I've seen them at numerous cemeteries. But they have an obelisk. And it matches up. And if it's known as the tree of death, then that would explain why why we see it in cemeteries as well. But this is also known to represent a phallic symbol, the penis. And when you think about life, well, it all seems to fit in together. It helps to create life, which ultimately ends up resulting in death. And it's a cycle, which is what these numbers and this whole entire code has been showing us all along, these repeating cycles over and over and over. And so is life and death. Now, if reincarnation is the truth, then yes, that shows the repeating cycle. And then getting the flower of life. And it's so interesting to me how these flowers and the symbol connects, which also sort of seems to demonstrate how all of us are connected. at the same time. Now, something I want to point out here, let's just go ahead and put this back to the tree of life. Let's count these points here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11. That's how the 11 ties into all of this. And between the two of these, the tree of life and the tree of death, we would have 11, 11. It's still not quite clear what this code is ultimately revealing. But boy, it is unpacking a lot of information. And it seems to keep tying in and connecting back to our creation and showing these cycles and, these repeating patterns over and over and over and over. So the question is, what is this code simply trying to show us or tell us? That we are within a matrix, a simulation, the whole, there's just so much here. It's really hard to process all of the information. And, as I keep unpacking all of this and finding all of these connections and connecting all of these pieces, it still keeps coming back, to the creation. Like we looked at the Rotos square, the Rotos-Sator square, which I believe depicts the creation story, because we're talking about the creator and sowing seeds and possessing and comprehending the knowledge in which to do this and putting all of it into motion, the wheel to rotate, turn, put into motion. To me, that's describing our creation process. And then taking all the letters and rearranging them and getting this term in Latin, which means our Father. And then also with the beginning is the end and the end is the beginning. And then simply taking those numbers, reducing them down through the reduction method, and then putting them through Gematria. And we get the phrase 4884, because when you look at just one side of this, we have 2 6s, which is 12, and the 3 7s, which is 21, gives us 1221 times 4 is 4884. And 4884, for those of you that remember, minus 1111 is 3773, which ties directly into, from the Hebrew Bible, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now, that phrase in the Hebrew Bible gives us the value of 2701, plus its mirror opposite of 1072 is exactly 3773, which puts us back to, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. It's the creation story. And even just the phrase in English, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, gives us the value of 1894, which told us the number 37, which is what those numbers are going up and down by, and also gave us the phrase, the mathematical universe of creation. So you can see how it's all connected. It's all tied in. Okay. Now, something else I wanted to point out here is, we have the tree of life, or the tree of knowledge. As I said, some believe that they're one and the same. So I went to Gematrix.org and I started getting curious as to what I might get with putting 1111 in, but not putting it in as the number, but spelling it out. So check this out, folks. So 1,000, as you can see, I've already typed it in. 1,111. Calculate the very first phrase is the tree of knowledge and the tree of life. Cannot be coincidence, folks. Cannot be coincidence. You can, and we also have the house of Yahweh. Simply cannot be coincidence. And this literally shows and demonstrates how all of this is tied in. Now, the next part that I want to talk about very briefly is super, super controversial. And I get it. And I want everyone to know straight up, I am not attacking anyone's religious beliefs at all. Okay? And I'm not saying that the information that I'm about to present to you is the truth. I'm not saying that. I'm merely saying, what if? Okay? What if? And when I say the question that I'm about to give to you guys, I know it's going to turn a lot of you off, and, I may even get people unsubscribing, and that's fine. I can't control that. But I want you to know straight up that I'm not saying that this is what I believe, but I'm saying that there is mounting evidence to support it. And this is something that I want to explore and get to the root of. And when you stop and think about it with an open mind, you have to have a very incredibly open mind to this information that I'm about to share with you guys. But when you have an open mind and you start to look at the much bigger picture that could be unfolding here, it starts to make a lot of sense. Now, when people ask me if I believe in God, my standard response is, I believe in a creator. We got here somehow. Okay? But do I necessarily believe in the God that is depicted in the Bible? To be honest, no, I don't. And there's many reasons as to why I don't. Now, I've never understood why a being, a superior being, who has the ability to create an entire universe would feel the need to create a lesser being than himself and then expect that being to love, praise, and worship him. Why? Why does he need that love, that praise? It never made any sense to me. To me, that's, that's part of this system of control. and we're told that, that God loves us and, we're his children and he only wants the best for us. But when you stop and think of Adam, the first man, Adam didn't ask to be created. He was made. He was created. But he didn't ask to be. And most of us right now, I can think of probably a handful of people who've grown up in terrible situations and gone through very horrible events. And if you asked that person, had you had a choice, would you have chosen to be here? And they probably would say, no, I would not have chosen to go through that. But we end up making excuses as to why they went through this terrible situation. And we always put God at the forefront of that. Well, God was, he was teaching you something. There was something that you were supposed to learn from it. Well, why is it that that person has something that they need to learn from being abused and this person over here doesn't? That doesn't make any sense to me. And as we've seen, as the Bible even literally tells us, like, the God in the Bible is a vengeful God. We're supposed to love him and fear him at the same time. Again, that's a system of control. And he puts this tree of knowledge, which the Bible says there were two trees, the tree of life and the tree of knowledge. And he told Adam and Eve, you can eat from any tree in the garden, but you cannot eat from the tree of knowledge, because if you do, you will die. But what was so secretive about this knowledge? What was God trying to keep from Adam and Eve? The fact that they are within a system of control? Because literally placing the tree there is temptation alone. And if you don't want them to have the knowledge, why would you even place it there, tempting them? So my question becomes, who was it that really tempted Adam and Eve? We're told it was the serpent, or Lucifer, or Satan, whatever you want to call him. But simply by placing the tree there, God is the one who tempted them. It's a temptation. It's like that whole scenario where you put a child in a room with a bowl of candy and you tell them not to eat it, and you leave them alone, and it's just the child in the room alone with a bowl of candy, just to see if they will be tempted. It's the exact same story. Now, the question that I'm opposing, or not opposed, but the question that I'm raising is, and again, this is super controversial, folks, and I'm not saying that this is what I believe. I'm saying, what if? And the question is, what if Jesus and Lucifer were one and the same? And I know that's a heavy question, and I know a lot of you probably just leaned back from your screen and went, no, no, no. But have an open mind. Just have an open mind. And I know that many of you are going to say that, this is heresy. It's bad to even entertain these thoughts. But I don't think so. I don't think there's anything wrong with seeking knowledge. And again, you have to ask the question of why that knowledge in the tree of knowledge was so bad? And if it was so bad, why even put it there to tempt them in the first place? Let's look at this. So Jesus and Lucifer both originated in heaven. Now, we know that Lucifer is a Latin name that means light bringer and morning star. And in Isaiah 14:12, it says, "How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning?" Okay? And he's known as the morning star. But why does Jesus also call himself the morning star? So it states Jesus claims to be the light of the world in John 8:12, wherein he says, "I am the light of the world." And again in John 9:5, when he says, "When I am in the world, I am the light of the world." And in Revelations 22:16, Jesus identifies himself as the morning star by saying, "I am the descendant from the family of David. I am the bright morning star." Why would he identify himself as the same that Lucifer identifies himself? Now, Lucifer once cast out, and I say cast out with air quotes, it says, Lucifer, once cast out of heaven, begins to tell humanity that they could become God. This first happens in the Garden of Eden, where God has placed two important trees, the tree of life and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. God tells Adam he can eat from any tree except from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And the Lord God commanded him, "You may eat freely from every tree of the garden, but you must not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. For in the day that you eat of it, you will surely die." And again, I ask the question, why is knowledge forbidden? Now the serpent says to Eve, "You will not certainly die. For God knows that when you eat from it, your eyes will be open, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil." Now, is that the knowledge that God is keeping from them? Now, in the Gospel of John 10:33 to 34, when the Jews picked up stones to kill Jesus, he said to them, "I have done many good works from the Father. Which of these good works are you killing me for?" The Jews answered, "We are not killing you because of any good work you did, but because you speak against God. You are only a human, but you say you are the same as God." Jesus replied, "Is it not written in your law, I have said, you are gods?" Now Jesus is saying, have I not said that you are gods? And Lucifer is telling Eve that if you eat from this tree of knowledge, you will not die, for your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil. Now, there's a secret book of John that the church has deemed as heresy. They've banned this book. And you have to ask yourself, why are certain books banned? And who is the church to say, okay, this book can go in the Bible, but this book or gospel cannot? Again, that's a system of control. They are keeping certain knowledge from you. But we are aware of this book, the secret book of John. Now, in the secret book of John, it reveals that Jesus was the one who tempted Eve in the Garden of Eden. Jesus says, as for the tree called the knowledge of good and evil, it is the wisdom of the light. They commanded him not to eat from it. However, I caused them to eat. Okay? He's identifying himself as the one who was in the garden, who told them to eat from the tree of knowledge. But see, this isn't a secret book. It's in a banned book. Why is it banned? Why does the church not want us to know that information? Because it goes against the narrative of what they want us to believe. Now, I'm suspecting that, as I said earlier, yes, I believe in a creator. And I believe in a creator that is of pure love and pure light. But what if, and again, I'm not saying I believe it. I'm just posing the question. That's the word I should have said earlier, not opposing, but posing the question. What if there was a separate God, a dark, evil, vengeful God? And this God is actually the one being spoken of in the Bible. This God is the one who has taken portions of the light from the source and encased it or entrapped it into these containers, our bodies, our souls. And that is why Jesus states the kingdom of God is within you. It's within you. Now, this evil God, this demiurge, is all about material possessions. He's all about wanting to be praised and worshiped and loved and controlling you to do just that. Because you're told if you don't do exactly what he says, then you will not enter the kingdom of heaven. Literally putting the fear of God into you. It's a system of control. Now, I don't believe that a loving, caring God would do these heinous acts of killing and, sacrifice. I mean, they don't preach the sacrifices that are talked about in the Bible in church most often, if at all. And then we have these excuses to make up for it, such as you just have to have faith or God works in mysterious ways. I'm sorry, those to me those are just cop-out responses because they don't know either, or they are aware of this secret knowledge. And I think, or I hate to say I think, but I'm starting to think, again, not saying I fully believe, but what if that was the ultimate secret that the church was keeping from us? This hidden knowledge. That the God that we are told that we are to worship and love and praise isn't the true creator. And that is just, when you look at the terrible things that, this God allows to happen, it's almost like a catalyst for, for those who believe to go to war and fight in wars and do all these terrible things, because that is also what they have learned as well. It's a lot to think about. It's a lot to process, I know. But, and again, I'm just putting it out there as a what if. And I understand that it's going to upset a lot of people, and that is not my intentions. My intentions are to get to the bottom of this code, find out what it's telling us, what it actually means. It feels like it's a message for mankind, but ultimately, what is the message? And, or is this the message? Is this its way of telling us to wake up? We have to wake up from this system of control. And if all of this has been encoded in the Bible, then mankind has known this information, has known that the church is going to, or has banned the information, so they have to encode it. It has to be hidden for those who have the eyes to see and the ears to hear or listen, to wake up and decode the information, to keep passing that knowledge on. Now, when you think of a matrix, this false reality, yes, I know I've demonstrated like a computer, how, we could be living within a simulation, and how our computer programs, simulate the same reality that we are in. But just because of the term matrix or simulation, it doesn't necessarily mean a computer program. It just simply means an alternate version of reality. One that simply may not be true. Now, as I just demonstrated a second ago, typing in 1111 equals 1844. It gives us the phrases, the tree of knowledge and the tree of life. But it also gives us the phrase, evil often hides in the light to not be seen. And that kind of ties into what I've just been talking about. I hate to use this reference, but it's very similar when you think about it in a way to Emperor Palpatine in Star Wars. He was thought to be the good guy, but he was working behind the scenes. He was actually the bad guy all along. And I get it. Nobody wants to accept that they have been worshiping a nefarious god, a dark god all this time, that they have been duped. Nobody wants to believe that. I get it. And again, I'm not saying it's true. This is a what if scenario, okay? Now, typing in to Gematrix, like I said, I was wanting to play around with 1111, spelling it out like 1111. But also I typed it in as just simply 1111, spelling the words out. And that produces the value of 1550, which reduces to 11. but also it produces the phrases 1546 and spiritual war. Now, when you put in the number 1546 as an actual numerical number, not spelled out in words, but as the number, it produces the phrase, the Creator has a message for you. The Creator, the one main source. It also produces the phrase, the biggest scam in the history of mankind. And if what I've just been talking about, if this knowledge that I've been talking about of Jesus and Lucifer being one and the same, and the church hiding that information from us, that would definitely be the biggest scam in the history of mankind. So that's it, folks. That's what I wanted to unpack today. I know it's heavy. I know it's deep. I know it's a lot to think about. I know it's going to upset a lot of people, and I have no control over that other than just not talking about it, period. But why not talk about it? If I've come across something, I'm going to reveal it. I'm going to bring it to you guys. It's up to you what you make of the information. I'm just showing you what I found. Now, very quickly, actually, before I go, there are some other symbols that can be created from that flower of creation. And I think I may have demonstrated this in the last video. I can't remember. Pretty sure I did. Oh, actually, you know what? Let's jump back really quick. Let's jump back and show you something. Okay, so I'm breaking these apart so I can just grab one of these. And we're going to move those off to the side. Now, there's also yet another symbol that I should have shown you that can be made from this. So I'm just going to put in a triangle here, and I'm going to put it right up here at the top where the point is touching. Just going to make it red so it stands out. And just going to enlarge this. And we're going to slide that over. Okay, so what we have is we're looking at this point, and this point on the flower. Okay. And by duplicating this, setting it on top of itself, rotating it, we're going to move this one down so the points are meeting, and look what we have. It's the Star of David, the Star of Creation, within the flower of creation. How cool is that? Now, as I demonstrated in the other videos, there's other shapes and symbols that can be formed from this. And when you take those shapes and you put them together, I thought this was very odd. I feel like I've seen this symbol somewhere, but I cannot place it. Yeah. Let's have a look at this. It looks very familiar somehow, but I can't place it. But this is it. It's made up of a obtuse triangle, just like the golden gnomon. It's made up from a pentagram that's inverted, as well as right side up. So we have an upside down triangle, a right side triangle, a pentagram that's right side up, one that's upside down. We have the Star of David, the Star of Creation in the center, and another one that's rotated. And then we have the two stars of creation on both sides. And then we have this other star that's right here in the center. So literally, it goes up to this point, back to this point, down to this point, up, down, up, down, up, down, just going out. So there's another star hidden right inside there. Now, this ties right back into 1111 because looking at the points, we have this point, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. And that's on one side. And then we have 11 points on the other side, giving us 11, 11. We can also get this interesting. I don't even know what to call it. I don't know whether to call it a cross or or what this is exactly. And it's literally built from the same shapes. These two interesting geometric shapes. It's very interesting stuff. So yeah. All right. That's going to be the end of this presentation for now. And, you know, I just want to finish up by saying, I hope I have not offended anybody. That it's never my intent to do so. You know, you're entitled to believe whatever you want to believe. For me personally, I just can't blindly give my faith or my belief into something that there's just so much contradicting information that I just can't put all of my belief and faith into just this one thing. I want to know how it connects, why it connects, what are the connections, what is the end game to this whole entire code that is unraveling here right in front of our eyes, and started with simply 1111 and 333. And it has truly been a fascinating road of discovery and revealing so much hidden information. And I understand the knowledge being hidden, but it's been hidden in plain sight. Whereas the knowledge that, you know, the church might have, they're keeping it locked away. Again, what is it about that knowledge that is so detrimental that they have to keep it locked away? Is it the knowledge that we are in this system of control and our creation is not what we've been told? I don't know. We just have to keep going with all of this and see where it leads. And that's all I'm doing, folks. I'm just researching the information. Not telling you what you need to believe. I'm not telling you that you're wrong. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just simply stating what if. And that's it. And there's nothing wrong with asking questions and wanting to know where we came from and why we exist. So, all right. Till next time, folks, take care. And again, like I said, I hope I have not offended anybody. It's not my intentions. I would never intentionally say something to hurt someone or make them feel, terrible or inferior in any way. So please know that is not my intent. I just am trying to figure this all out. Like all of us, we're all trying to figure out where we came from, why we're here. And that's all I'm doing. So, okay, that's it. Until next time, hope everyone takes care and have a great rest of the week and an awesome weekend. And I'm sure we'll be talking again soon. Bye-bye.